Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Let rain fall, let rain
And good morning. Welcome to Today at the Races. We're live here at Pimlico on the porch right in front of the jockey's room. Pimlico, home of the Preakness, and Preakness 142 weekend is here. We kicked off the week yesterday. The handle was huge, up over $1 million in handle yesterday, so we're off and running. Today is the ultimate girls' day out, Black-Eyed Susan Day, and I have one of my favorites right next to me, Acacia Courtney. How are you?
Thank you, Stan. I'm great. It's great to be here. As you said, the girls' day out, Black-Eyed Susan Day. We have 14 races on tap today here at Pimlico. It's an exceptional card. It was not an easy one to get through, but certainly a lot of fun, and I think a lot of value opportunities as well. Some great guarantees today, and I think we're in for a day of fantastic racing. Absolutely. Today and tomorrow. If you haven't yet gotten your tickets yet for tomorrow, do so now. Go to Preakness.com. Let's get right to it. Lots to get to. Let's start with your Kentucky Derby champion, the world's most popular horse right now. He'll be your 4-5 favorite in the 142nd Preakness tomorrow. Here's Always Dreaming, training this morning here at Pimlico. This was from this morning. He jogged the wrong way. No draw reins this morning. Trainer Todd Pletcher saying yesterday he wanted to get him a day on the track with no draw reins. He looked great out there this morning, Acacia. And from all reports, it seems like he's really just been acting like a consummate professional, which has been a little bit of a contrast from what we saw from him before the Kentucky Derby. So it's been good to see that from him and to see how he's acclimated. Of course, the connections shipping in early to give him time to get settled here at Pimlico. And that's what you like to see, a horse eating the bottom of the feed tub out. There's your Preakness favorite, Always Dreaming. Todd Pletcher, he couldn't be more confident this week. He's very pleased with everything he sees from Always Dreaming. We caught up with him once again this morning. Here's what he had to say.
We just jogged him a mile with the pony. Same thing we did the day before the Derby. Did a good strong gallop yesterday, and we just wanted to go easy today, and worked out really well. He was well behaved, nice and quiet, jogged around there enthusiastically, and that's it. He'll just walk tomorrow morning, and all the preparation's done.
All right, so Todd Pletcher, cool, calm, and collected, just like Always Dreaming. He's been very confident all week. He has, and he's been wonderful with the media as well, just daily interviews all over the place. And he has been confident on this horse all along, which is, I think Todd Pletcher's the kind of trainer that if he doesn't actually feel that confident about a horse, he won't say so. So that's nice to hear from him. And he is a class act, one of the nicest guys in the game to work with, one of the smartest guys in the game to work with as well. And I think we're looking at a Triple Crown winner here this year. I think we're in for a big show tomorrow with Always Dreaming. Let's show you what, the big race today. He has the morning line favorite in the big race today, the Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan. That's race 11. He has Moana, a good-looking 3-year-old daughter of Uncle Mo. She just broke her maiden at Keeneland, but maiden special weight races at Keeneland, some of the best horses in the country. Here's Moana working earlier this week here at Pimlico. A sensational move here over the Pimlico surface. And I spoke to Todd about Moana the other day, actually, and he was saying she went off as the favorite in her debut race. She did break her maiden in her second start, but they were high on her right from the beginning. He said she was always a horse that they'd really like. So it's a big jump going from maiden win to this tough company in the Black-Eyed Susan, but he thought that she deserved a shot at it. And Todd Pletcher with 2 horses in the Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan. The favorite, Moana. Don't forget about Lights of Medina. She's a stakes winner, won the Weber City Miss at Laurel over a tough, sloppy track that day. So Pletcher with 2 shots in today's big feature, the Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan. That's race 11. We'll get to that. Let's tell you about Black-Eyed Susan. What a party it's going to be out here today. The day today benefits Coleman, Maryland, and the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. It's the ultimate girls' day out. Gabby Gaudette, she'll be on with us this afternoon. Ron Nicoletti as well, but Gabby Gaudette participating in a handicapping seminar contest this morning. This is always a special day. We'll have about 60, 70,000 people here. Just as much fun as tomorrow, about half the crowd.
And some of the most admirable and knowledgeable women in racing in Gabby Gaudette, Kaiten Brader, and Janine Edwards. You can hear from them this morning, so don't want to miss out on that. And as you said, start to finish should be a fantastic day.
Hey, anybody want a gator? Here's a cool raffle you can get into. Tickets are $10 each, or you can get 6 for $50. Are available in the racing office and at the guest services counter. The John Deere Gator raffle benefits Coleman, Maryland, and Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, I believe. So cool looking John Deere Gator down there. You can buy a raffle ticket, go to the racing office or guest services counter to get in there on the Gator raffle. Preakness 142 is tomorrow. We'll have another record crowd, record handle for sure for the 142nd Preakness tomorrow. The People's Race, the People's Party, everybody's favorite Triple Crown race, always the third Saturday in May, a holiday here in Baltimore. Preakness.com to get all your tickets.
Yeah, I like it, a holiday in Baltimore, and I've been here all week, Stan, and I've learned even more about the history of this race and what it means to Maryland, and just you can feel the excitement building, especially this morning as we're getting set for that Preakness, and I really think it is no understatement that it is one of everyone's favorite Triple Crown races.
All the seats sold out last year, so go to Preakness.com. Make sure you have a seat tomorrow. Now, if you want to go to the biggest party in the Mid-Atlantic, that's in the Budweiser Enfield Fest tomorrow. Sam Hunt, along with special guest Zed on the main stage. On the DeKuyper stage, we have Good Charlotte, Low Cash, and High Valley. Always one of the biggest, most popular, well-attended parties of the year.
And you can feel that music just throughout the entire track, and it's a great party going on in there. And of course, as always, accompanied by great racing throughout as well.
Oh, are you a country music fan, Sam Hunt?
I'm not a big country music fan, but I am looking forward to Zed. So he's got some good songs. I'll have to see if I even am able to catch a little bit of what's going on in there.
And Good Charlotte with some local ties. They're from Maryland and married to some cool people as well. Cameron Diaz, I believe, and Nicole Ritchie. So they're all right in my book. So Preakness.com for all your tickets and information. Keep up with all the recent news as well. Several press releases going out every day on the hour about all the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes and the Preakness Day Stakes. That's where you can see some great video of the horses training, sound bites from trainers' press conferences. So all of that available to you on Preakness.com. Check it out. Let's get right to it. Lots of action today. We had a big handle yesterday. Some nice carryovers today. Don't sleep on the Super High 5 carryover here in the opener. A little shy of 5,600 in that rolling Super High 5 carryover. That's a low 15% takeout. Starts in race 1. The Rainbow Pick 6, almost 5,800. That starts in race 6 today. No late Pick 5 carryover from yesterday, but we'll show you what we do have in store for you here in the late Pick 5. That's right, some big-time guaranteed wager pulls today and tomorrow, starting in race 7, the guaranteed late Pick 5. That's a $300,000 guarantee. The middle Pick 4, starting race 8, I believe you have a ticket for that. That starts in race 8, $300,000 guaranteed pull. And then the late Pick 4, $300,000. That starts in race 11. We'll have tickets for you in all of those races. And check out the big guaranteed pulls for tomorrow. Late Pick 5, $300,000 starting race 7 tomorrow. Middle Pick 4 tomorrow, $300,000 starting race 8. And then the late Pick 4, a big guaranteed pull tomorrow as well. So we have a $2 million guaranteed pull tomorrow as well. So go to Preakness.com to learn about those. Let's show you the track conditions here at Pimlico today. It's clear and sunny. We'll be fast and firm today and tomorrow. It'll be a little warm today, but the weather tomorrow looks perfect.
It really does. It's supposed to be, I believe, in the high 70s tomorrow. It's going to be 80s today, but it is absolutely beautiful and sunny right now. Knock on wood, we've been lucky with the weather this year, especially in comparison to what we had last year. So really, really happy about that.
All right, let's show you. We showed you the turf courses and the dirt courses here, fast and firm. Beautiful weather, I think we get right to it here. Lots to get to as we give you some picks here in the first 4 races. The stake races start race 5 today. We have 7 stakes for you today. Bunch of graded stakes, of course, the Black Eyed Susan, the Pimlico Special, Ben's Cat trying to win another Jim McKay Turf Sprint. We'll get to all that, but let's start right here in race 1. We're going 6 furlongs on the main track. This is a 2 other than allowance condition, optional claiming 25,000 filly and mares here, and this race kicks off that that rolling super high 5. Nice carryover over 5,500. I end up on the 4, My Magician, for a top barn here. Trainer Michael Trombetta gets his main jockey, Julian Pimentel. They're a solid 20% together. My Magician won at this level 3 starts back. She's been going against tougher 3 other than companies her last 2 starts. She drops it back down into a condition. I think she gets the money. I love the 6-1 price I'm getting on her.
And if you get a price like that, she certainly could be worth another look. I didn't love how she was beaten as the favorite 2 starts back. It was against just a notch tougher, but I did land on the number 3, Everlasting Secret. She is coming off of an extended layoff, but I really thought her speed was going to be the key, and she was in fantastic form for that before that layoff for Mary Epler. And with this kind of layoff on the dirt, she wins about 25% clip, and it is a positive ROI for the barn.
She rarely misses the track. She trains well here at Pimlico. Epler 27% with the horses coming off the layoff. You have a bullet work here at Pimlico going 5 furlongs April 23rd. Paco Lopez in town to ride. So I like the 3, Everlasting Secret. She's just going to be ready. She's going to need to be ready to fire a big effort coming off the layoff. I use her in my top 3. Looks like we both like the 5 here as well. Zippity Zoom, 5-2 for trainer Linda Rice, who is your tied for leading trainer at the Laurel Meet. Gets her main jockey, Horacio Caramanos, from a large sampling. They're 48% together with a positive ROI. You can't find any bad stats when it comes to Linda
No,
Rice.
you really can't. I think this is a connections that you just can't leave off. And you look at that turf race last time out, this horse, she took a left turn at the break, and then even after that, she was checked and shuffled back. So not an easy trip on the turf last time. She has some natural speed to her as well, and as you said, you just have to respect the connections.
All right, so 4-5-3-8 for me here in the opener, 3-5-8-2 for Acacia. As we turn the page here, race 2 kicks off the early pick 5 with that industry low 12% takeout. We're going 5 furlongs here on the main track. Filly and mares 3 and up, 2 other than allowance. Optional claiming 25,000. I end up on the 5, Catching Fireflies, coming off the layoff for trainer Arnaud Delacour. This will be the 6-year-old mare's first start today. You get Fergal Lynch aboard, and Lynch was aboard for those 2 nice allowance wins at this level last fall at Laurel Park. The stakes race last December down in Tampa didn't go too well. They gave her the winner off after that. She gets back to a level where she dominated here in Maryland last fall.
And Arnaud Delacour has 2 horses in here coming off the layoff. He is Catching Fireflies as well as Spanish Romance. But the Lightning City, as you said, Tampa didn't go well last time, but a race prior to that, I thought it was a huge win. If you go back and watch that, it was a big field actually, and she was drawn to the outside, and she was closing the far outside and game in the top 2 to get the win in there. So that's what I do like about her. And Arnaud is an excellent turf conditioner, and he also does a great job with this kind of layoff. Positive ROI about 21% on the grass.
All right, we both like the 8. I throw the 1 into my exacta here. Dare to Be, second off the layoff for trainer Rodney Jenkins. He's about 29% with that move. You get Steve Hamilton aboard for a good barn. That was on a softer, good turf course at Laurel for the comeback race April 9th. She had to swing out with a wide move. Got up for a good 4th, only beaten about 3/4 of a length there in that comeback race. She was in good form last October at Laurel Park. She's going to have to step up her game here second off the layoff. A tough inside post as well. Hamilton going to have to navigate a trip coming from behind from the 1 hole.
I did like the number 8, Do What I Say. I think we both had a little bit of interest in this one. She has a win here at Pimlico. She actually won on Black Eyed Susan Day last year, so maybe this is a bit of a lucky day for her. Also coming off a layoff from Mike Trombetta and coming out of a poor performance in Stakes Company last time, so similar form with those outside horses that you do kind of wonder how they will look coming off of that layoff. So will be interesting to see as we get closer to post time, and this might be a race where you really watch the board.
You have to respect the barn with this kind of move coming off the layoff from a solid sampling of horses, 23% with a nice positive ROI. Centron should get a beautiful trip stalking from the outside or maybe going right to the front if they're slow early.
Absolutely.
Right, so we both like the 8 there. 5-1-8-7 for me in the second. 5.872 there for Acacia. We're going to roll through these first 4 races. We have to get to the stakes action starting in race 5. But race 3, we stay on the main track, going a mile and a 16th here. So first level allowance contest, filly and mares 3 and up to kick off an early pick 4. I end up on the 7 here, Indian Paint. That was a sharp maiden special weight win at Laurel, going a mile for Kelly Rubley. Fergal Lynch stays aboard. She's going to have to continue to make progress, but she's a well-bred 4-year-old filly by Uncle Mo for a good barn here. I like the 7 at 3-1.
And she certainly seems to be moving in the right direction. She broke her maiden last time at a big performance after knocking on the door in a couple of starts prior to that. So she will have to take a step forward to face winners for the first time. But off of that win and the 69 Beyer speed figure, I think you do have to respect her. I landed on a 2-time winner already, and that's the number 5, Borino. So maybe this will be just a question of experience in here. And I liked that she won. Yes, she won against State Bred Allowance Company last time out, but it was a good performance, I thought. I thought that she was driving very strongly coming from just off the pace, and that was at the mile and a 16th at Laurel, so she's had some experience going a longer distance as well, which I do think gives her an edge.
You have to respect the connections. Trevor McCarthy aboard for Cal Lynch on the 5 Borino. They're 26% together with a positive ROI. I like the 5. I have that one in my top 3. 7, 6, 5, 3 for me in the third. 5, 6, 7, 4 there for Acacia in the third. Let's take a look here at race 4. We get on the turf course, going a mile and an 1/8 on the turf. First level allowance contest for filly and mares 3 and up, and I go to the 2 Private Client, second off the layoff for a good turf barn here. Trainer Tom Proctor gets Florent Giroux aboard here. It was a nice maiden win at Saratoga against some of the best horses in the country last August. This horse had all kinds of traffic problems down there in that comeback race at Keeneland.
That was a lot of trouble last time. Actually kind of got into a pocket along the rail. There was a 74-1 shot as the pace setter that day, and the rest were kind of strung out behind that horse, so they were all strung out at Keeneland like that, and then there was just no room for this filly to run. She kept waiting for a spot, and she did have to slightly steady, so at the 8th pole, it was not an easy performance from her as others were closing outside, as we did see largely to be the case on the turf course at Keeneland this meet, so I think that you have to give her a little bit of a pass for that. She was still beaten under 2 lengths in that race, so I think now second off the bench, she certainly should be able to move forward.
All right, we're both in agreement here on our top pick and our top 4 picks here. Number 2, Private Client, looks awfully tough to beat there in race 4. All right, here we get to the stakes action, the first of 7 stakes this afternoon here on Black Eyed Susan Day. This is the Grade 3 Allaire DuPont Distaff, of course named after Mrs. Allaire DuPont, longtime Maryland owner and breeder here in Maryland. We're going a mile and an 1/8 here for filly and mares 3 and up. We have a video spotlight here on your heavy favorite. Let's take a look here. Terra Promessa. This is February 18th in the Grade 3 Bayacoa down there at Oaklawn. She just crushed this field, and she might do the same thing, turning for a home here in the DuPont.
She certainly could, and she was the horse that was second in that race is Power of Snunner, who's in on the rail in here today. But Terra Promessa was so much the best that day. And if you look at her most recent race in Grade 1 Company, she was second, yes, but she was second behind a superstar in Stellar Win. So I think there's absolutely no shame in being second last time. Just the kind of company that she's been keeping, the excellent form that she's been in lately. And at the poor, quote-unquote, poor performance 2 starts back in the Azeri, she had a very troubled trip that day and did have to steady. So I think that she and her natural speed, absolutely the one to beat.
I think she'll be very tough. I use her on top. Trainer Steve Asmussen and Scott Blassie. Nobody knows her sire, Curlin, better than them. Of course, they trained Curlin. Scott Blassie's been with Steve Asmussen for a long time. Great guy. Here's what he had to say about the heavy favorite and the DuPont Terra Promessa.
Well, she loves Oaklawn. We thought we wouldn't run her back real quick off the hard effort against Stellar Wind at Oaklawn, so we gave her the time. It's freshened her up for a week at Stone Street, and then brought her back. She doesn't take a lot of training. She runs well fresh, so hopefully she brings that form to Baltimore.
And no one knows her sire, Curlin, better than you and Steve. Does she have some similarities to Curlin? All right, so there's trainer Scott Blasey talking about TATR Promessa, and he would go on to say that this filly, a late developing filly, kind of like Curling. Curling got better of course, he won the Preakness when he was 3, but he was a monster when he was 4 and 5 as well, 2-time horse of the year. And this 4-year-old, she was just second in a Grade 1, but she might continue to be getting better. And if so, she's going to be tough to beat in this race.
And she is just a 4-year-old filly, and she's already 6 for 11 on paper. She's already accomplished a lot, including multiple graded stakes wins. So I certainly, again, on paper, think that she is the one to beat. A couple of others that potentially could be on the upswing. You have Mo Green, who did win in graded stakes company last time, and Carumba now third off the bench and adding the blinkers on for Shug McGahee. I think that they're both worthy foes in here.
Yeah, you have to respect the connections here. Mo Green for John Service, Carumba, you got to love the name. Blinkers on for the Hall of Famer Claude McGahee. This is a nice Grade 3 for filly and mares, a salty group. You have a horse that's a Grade 3 winner like TATR Promessa, just second in a Grade 1. She's going to win today, I think, and maybe go on and do some more damage in Grade 1s and maybe help out the grading here of the DuPont. You could see this race getting elevated to a Grade 2 here in the next couple years. So a nice Grade 3 there in race 5 to kick off the stakes action. Let's get to race 6 here, which is a nice 2 other than allowance optional claiming 25,000 going a mile and a 16th on the turf. This race kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6. Nice carryover today. Don't sleep on this. They'll dump a bunch of money here into this Rainbow Pick 6. The carryover about 5,800 starts here in race 6. Of course, we have those big guaranteed pools coming up for you as well. But let's take a look here at race 6. We have a stat, I believe, here for Michael Matz on Gone Away, who's your 7-2, one of your top picks here, 4-year-old filly by Leroy de Sanamo.
Yes, we do have a stat on this barn, and we'll throw that up if we can. This is second after the layoff, going a turf route and in the money last time out, which fits this filly to a T. He's 23% win, 45% in the money, and it's out of a big sample size of 71 horses. Nearly $3 ROI, $298. This one, as you said, she's beautifully bred. She came off of that 9-month layoff, and she was closing very, very wide last time out. I thought it was a good performance from her. She did actually win a stake at Pimlico last year. She won the Hilltop here, so she has some back class, and I think that she's one that might be moving in the right direction off that bench.
You have to respect her second off the layoff. She should get a nice ground-saving trip with the top rider aboard for a good barn. I use her third here. I'm going to go with a 15-1 shot on top here in race 6 to kick off this pick 6. I like the 4 Tricky Escape for trainer Lynn Ashby. This filly's never missed a check. 6 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds in a third. Very honest filly on the dirt, and then they got her to the turf last out against first level allowance contest fillies and mares at Laurel Park, and she won that race as well. Forest Boy's a top turf rider. I think this filly's going in the right direction. She might even be better on turf. She's by hat trick. I like the 4 Tricky Escape to pull off the big upset here in race 6.
And I agree with you, Stan.
She's
like really
it. You
done.
Pick her second.
Yeah, I liked her too.
Now I like her more.
I know. Hopefully, we still get that price though. But I mean, she's done nothing wrong as of yet. You really can't knock her, and certainly she's 1 for 1 on the turf. Yes, that was in allowance company, and yes, it was on a good turf last time. But I think that she certainly fits among this bunch, and that was going a mile and a 16th, so she could have a big shot in here. But on paper, of course, the number 7 Family Meeting is the one to beat. Now, she won the distaff last time out at Tampa in State Bred Florida Company, and she has some back class as well. She's a previous Grade 3 winner in California. She's a 4 out of 13 placing. She won the Sunshine Million filly and mare turf at Gulfstream back in January. So she has that class aspect, whereas I think you look at the number 4 Tricky Escape, she's still a little bit of an unknown.
Sure. Good point. You have to respect the 7. I use her second. She comes from way out of it, so that's why I'm just kind of taking a shot. Maybe she gets some traffic or something. Hope she has a good trip, but maybe she gets a little traffic, and my 15-1 shot can beat her by your nose.
I like it.
That's my theory here in race 6. All right, so we have the same top 3 here in race 6. That's a nice allowance race. Let's get a commercial break. When we come back, we'll start with those big guaranteed pulls here and a race called the world-famous Pimlico Special, Grade 3. That's in race 7. We'll start with that when we come back.
The Preakness returns Saturday, May 20th at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore. The People's Race and the People's Party. 142nd Preakness Stakes. Tickets on sale now at Preakness.com.
All right, welcome back to the program as I'm shuffling through my 14 races here on Black Eyed Susan Day. There's a lot of action out there already in the infield. You see that Preakness cupola right to, there it is, right down there, right between Acacia and I. That's where the winner of the 142nd Preakness, I think it's going to be Always Dreaming. That's where he'll be tomorrow. Hope you're here tomorrow and today as well. But let's get right to all the action. Race 7 is the Grade 3 Pimlico Special. The race Seabiscuit won, of course, in that famous match race with War Admiral. We're going the same distance as the Preakness, a mile and a 16th for some of the top older handicap horses in the country. Let's take a look here. This race kicks off the late pick 5, which is a guaranteed $300,000 pull here in this late pick 5. I have a ticket here. Let's take a look at my late pick 5 ticket. I'm not going to try to beat Shaman Ghost. You kidding me? Just won the big cap in March. You single on this horse. If you get 4 to 5 on him, consider yourself lucky. He might go off 3, 2 to 5 or something. I don't think they beat Shaman Ghost. He's like the second best horse in the world behind Arrogant. So I'm going to key on Shaman Ghost here in the Grade 3 Pimlico Special. I'll go 4 deep there in race 8. That's the Hilltop. Going 3 deep there in race 9. That's the Grade 3 Miss Preakness Stakes. Race 10's the Jim McKay Turf Sprint. I'll use 3 horses in there, including the 11-year-old, the Ben's Cat, number 5. And then race 11, going with 3 fillies in there. That's the Grade 2 Black Eyed Susan. I love the 1 Shimmering Aspen at 9 to 2. I also like the 9 Summer Luck at 5 to 1. And I like the 8 to 1, the second Pletcher filly. I like Lights of Medina in there at 8 to 1, number 5 in race 11. So late pick 5, big action here in race 7. It's a Grade 3 Pimlico Special, guaranteed $300,000 pull. We have a video spotlight here of Shaman Ghost. This is a homebred for the Stronach family, and here's this 5-year-old son of Ghost Zapper's win in the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap in March.
There is absolutely no question of, well, who did he face in his last few starts? Shaman Ghost was second in the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup behind Arrogate, as you mentioned, and he went on to win the Dubai World Cup. Shaman Ghost came back with his own Grade 1 victory at Santa Anita, as you're just seeing there. I thought it was a big performance from him. He got a 108 Beyer speed figure. His last 4 races have gotten him speed figures all above 100. He has just been in exceptional form, and he has stayed in form. Jimmy Durkin's an exceptional training job with this horse to be putting him in the right spots, and he's just, I think, peaking now at 5.
Absolutely, and some people might ask, well, why is he going to a Grade 3? Well, the answer is easy. The boss man wants to win a race here on the big day. This is a world-famous race.
Why not?
We're trying the Pimlico Special has been a Grade 1 in the past. We're trying to get it back up to a Grade 1. So you have a horse like this running it, and then he'll go on win some other Grade 1s later on this year, help the Pimlico Special get up to a Grade 2, Grade 1 here in the next couple of years. I don't think they beat Shaman Ghost here. You have the 9 in the exact. I might have overlooked this one, Conquest Windy City from the Brendan Walsh barn. It was a sharp win against Allowance Company at Keeneland last out.
It was, and I'm trying to use some prices underneath, maybe to make money with Shaman Ghost. I think he's definitely a worthy single in those multi-race wagers, but if you want to play that exacted trifecta and get some prices underneath, that was my tactic in using the 9 Conquest Windy City, who should be a good price. You've got Brendan Walsh, Louis Sias in the saddle. He came off of an extended layoff and made his first start for this barn. It was a sloppy track at Gulfstream Park, and then came back with that Keeneland win last time. He was forwardly placed, and he took the lead, and he opened up in front of the rest of the field, which I really liked. So his speed should be his key.
All right, I throw a long shot into my exact as well. I like your strategy there. I'll throw the 10 Fellowship at 20 to 1. Joel Rosario aboard for Kenny Decker. Kenny Decker did a nice job at the recent Laurel meet, and Fellowship ran in the Preakness last year. They were very high on him as a 3-year-old, and this is only his second start since the Preakness. That was a very, very comeback win April 16th at Laurel Park against upper-level Allowance Company. He blew that field away, got an eye-opening 96 Beyer in there, gets a top rider today. I like Fellowship in good form now here as a 4-year-old. So a nice rendition of the Grade 3 Pimlico Special, both Acacia and I on the 6th. The big cap winner, Shaman Ghost. That's a reliable single for sure, I think, in the Pimlico Special. Let's turn the page here. Race 8 kicks off the late pick 4. Another big guarantee pull for you. This is a $300,000 guaranteed late pick 4. Acacia, I know you like this. You have a ticket. Let's take a look.
I do. We'll show you my ticket in here. I kept it at $45, and I think if you really have some strong opinions and see see some potential singles, possibly Victory to Victory in here could be a single to start things off. But I use $45. We do have that guarantee, as you mentioned. Using 3 horses in here to kick things off. 3 in the 9th in the Miss Preakness, going to spread a little bit in there. Just using 2 in the Jim McKay Turf Sprint with Pay Any Price and the number 10 Richard's Boy. And then spreading in the 11th race in the Black Eyed Susan. I like Shimmering Aspen as well. I really like Summer Luck at a price, using both Pletchers, and again wanting some coverage in there, seeing if I can get some value for $45.
I like it. Trying to get a price there in the Black Eyed Susan, affordable ticket. It'll be over. All these guaranteed pulls, they'll be over 300,000. Jump in, you might get a big score. Let's take a look here. Race 8 is the Hilltop, going a flat mile on the turf for 3-year-old fillies, and I like the 3 Victory to Victory on top. We have a video spotlight here of this 3-year-old filly's last win. This was late April down at Keeneland on a soft yielding turf course, going a mile. It's a tough allowance race down there at Keeneland. She's a 3-year-old filly by exchange rate, trained by Mark Cassidy, gets a top turf rider aboard. I think she might go right to the front, or she doesn't have to go to the front. In the Grade 1 win at Woodbine last September, she came from off the pace, so I think she's very versatile.
She is versatile. She's now second off the bench, as you said. And once we finish up with that replay, we'll show a stat on the barn on trainer Mark Cassidy. On the turf, second off the layoff. Turf Roots, second off the layoff, and winners last time out. He's 24% and a positive ROI of 283, 48% of the time in the money. Good sample size of 42 horses as well.
All right, we caught up with trainer Mark Cassidy, who's had a busy week. He has a lot of horses here, including your second choice in the Preakness Classic Empire. The Cassidy barn could have a huge weekend here these next couple days. Here's what trainer Mark Cassidy had to say about his 3-year-old filly, Victory to Victory.
I think she's a really good filly. We're really blessed. We have Luck Cornell, we have Dream Dancing, and I think she's probably right there with them. I thought her race at Keeneland was impressive, and she runs a race. They have to deal with her. It's not an easy race, but she's a pretty good horse.
How is she acclimated here at Pimlico? I've just seen her briefly, but she's dappled out. She looks phenomenal.
She's pretty easy. So I watched her train this morning. She went great. I don't think we'll use that as an excuse. And it's supposed to be maybe a little rain, but she's ran on a soft turf. So we're feeling pretty confident with her.
All right, so there's trainer Mark Cassidy, confident about Victory to Victory. Let's see, in my late pick 5 in this race, I go 4 deep, but she's going to be awfully tough to beat. If she goes to the front, I think the only way she gets beat is if she gets a lot of pressure early on.
And that really could be the key. Now, this is an interesting race. I didn't single her, but I do think she's the one to beat. There is some speed to her inside with Dance Queen. We don't really quite know how good Dance Queen is just yet, but Compelled, the number 5, has proven herself. She won in State Bred Stakes competition at Gulfstream Park West, and then she backed that up with some very strong finishes in Graded Stakes company at Gulfstream and Tampa. And last time out, she was finishing very close behind a horse that Mark just mentioned in La Coronel and 55 in there as well. And she finished second, very tight behind Rimska, a really nice Chad Brown runner, 2 starts back in the Swedish Chant. So I think she's a horse that's on the upswing.
Yeah, she's never missed a check, never been worse than third. You have to respect her. I use her in my exacta. I like the cold superfecta we both have there. 3, 5, 12, 1, Acacia and I in perfect agreement here in race 8 for the Hilltop. Let's turn the page here. We have a bunch of good races still to go. A 14 race card for you on Black Eyed Susan. They did about 18 million in handle last year. I think there's a definite chance we'll do over 20 million, maybe around the 25 million range today here on this stellar card. Let's take a look here at race 9, the Grade 3 Miss Preakness for 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs. We have a video spotlight here on the 11, A Stroll in the Park. This was her win against Allowance Company at Laurel Park late March with Trevor McCarthy aboard for trainer Larry Jones. And after this win, she'd go win a little stake out there in Ohio at Mahoning Valley. McCarthy gets back aboard today. This filly has early speed, outside post. McCarthy's your leading rider around here. She's going to dictate every step of the race here, breaking from the outside. If it's slow to her inside, boom, she can go right to the front. If there's some other speed to her inside, I think McCarthy gets a beautiful stalking trip on the outside. All that said, I use her second. I'm going with the horse that might be in front to her inside, the 6 Vertical Oak.
And you went with one horse coming out of a race at Oaklawn Park, and I went with the other in the 5, Our Majesty. They're well familiar with each other. Actually, 2 starts back for both of them when there was a disqualification of Our Majesty for actually bumping Vertical Oak a little bit on the rail. I went back and watched that race several times, and I really didn't think it was that bad. I thought Our Majesty was really a little bit green for sure in the stretch, but she was much the best in there. She came back to win an allowance company at Keeneland after that, so I do think that she proved herself. Now, Vertical Oak did come back and win a stake by open lengths in her next start. It was in the slop.
Well, we caught up with Scott Blassie, assistant trainer for Steve Asmussen, talking about his very fast filly, number 6, Vertical Oak. My top pick at 10-1. Here's what Blassie had to say.
Yeah, she's gotten good. That was her second start back. She was well thought of in Saratoga last year. She broke her maiden second time out actually, and she's developed into a nice 3-year-old filly. Her race at Iowa was huge, so I know she'll have to run harder to win here. But if she carries that form to here, she should be tough.
All right, so that's Scott Blassie. Maybe the slop moved her up a little bit at Prairie Meadows, but I think she's just coming into her own and going in the right direction. She's very fast early. However, she won an allowance race at Churchill last fall, coming from off the pace. Her maiden win at Saratoga last summer. She had a nice stalking trip, so she doesn't have to go to the front. Gets Jose Ortiz aboard. I think a live play at 10-1.
It certainly could be, and she's one to respect for sure. And as you said, Jose Ortiz aboard is never a bad thing, and she could be one that is just on the upswing. I'll respect her as well. A Stroll in the Park, I think, is a must-use, and a horse that's to the outside that I've had some questions about, but I did throw on at the bottom of my top 4 is the 12 Pretty City Dancer, who's been facing graded stakes company in her last several starts, and though she doesn't necessarily meet an easy field in here today, she has been running against some just very, very tough fillies. She won the Grade 1 Spinaway at Saratoga and hasn't really been able to capture that kind of form. It does seem like the break is her issue, but I did use her trying to see what she can show us today.
She has been running against some of the best fillies in the country. I overlook her here a little bit. This is a deep 14-horse field. No scratches, right? A 14-horse field here in this Grade 3. A bunch of nice fillies. Todd Pletcher, by the way, has 2 fillies in here. We caught up with him. Let's see what Pletcher had to say about the 7 Bodie's Dream and the 8 Nona Bell.
Well, she's developed nicely, but, we found that she's a free-running filly, and you just kind of got to let her do her thing. She doesn't want to be held up too much. So that's the main thing, is just hopefully breaks alertly and gets going.
And talking about Nona Bella again, cutting back in distance, you feel like sprinting is stronger for her?
I'm actually a little confused on what her ideal distance is, but we felt like backing up right now would be the way to go. Hopefully down the road we can stretch her back out.
Did you think she got a little bit worked up before her last race?
She did, and I think we squeezed her races a little too close together. So hopefully with the added space, she'll be back to her best form.
All right, there's trainer Todd Pletcher talking about the 2 fillies he has here in a very deep running of the Grade 3 Miss Preakness here in race 9. Let's turn the page here. A bunch of more stake races to go here on this 14-race card. This will be one of the features of the day here. Race 10, the Jim McKay Turf Sprint, 5 furlongs on the turf. And, of course, everybody's fan favorite, the 11-year-old Ben's Cat. He's about the 4- or 5-time Maryland-bred horse of the year. He's won this race the last 4 years. He's won it the last 5 of 6 years. He's trained, bred, and owned by the Hall of Famer King T. Leatherberry. Let's take a look here. We have a video spotlight of Ben's Cat. This was his win in the Jim McKay Turf Sprint last year with Trevor McCarthy aboard. This was one of his most impressive races. He had to split horses late and earn this win, and he did it in very impressive fashion.
Yes, he did, and then he really proved himself in that race. That was actually his last victory. He came off of an extended layoff from October to April last time out, and yes, he finished 5th and behind a couple other horses in this field, but he still beaten just 3/4 of a length. King Leatherberry saying he's sound, he still wants to run. He really is a fan favorite. It's amazing to see how people cheer for him and welcome him onto the track.
And historically, he's run his best races second off the layoff. I thought he was full of of run in that comeback race. He was ducking and diving down there on the inside, looking for some room to go. I thought it was a very, very good comeback race. He's a 7-time winner here at Pimlico. I think Ben's Cat's sitting on a huge race, but he might just get a little traffic breaking from the 5-0. I go with a horse on the outside. I think the 10 Richards Boy is going to get a great trip here for trainer Peter Miller. Paco Lopez aboard. This is the first start since they took him over there to Dubai in that Grade 1 turf sprint over there late March. I like him because he's been running 6 furlongs, 6.5 furlongs. He'll be dead fit if there's a stretch battle, which I think there will be with multiple horses at the wire. He has enough speed to get himself in good contention on the outside. I think the 10 Richards Boy gets a great trip here in the turf sprint.
And even before shipping over to Dubai, he was ultra consistent and just always putting up good performances. So I do respect him as well. He has some speed. We also do have to talk about the 4 Pay Any Price, who's looking for win number 3 in a row. He did break the track record for 5 furlongs on the turf in the Silks run ahead of Power Alert, who certainly is no schlub, to put it that way. But this horse, I do kind of wonder if he's going to keep running that way, because last time I thought was not as impressive visually as 2 starts back in the Silks run, but looking for 3 in a row.
He's very fast. If you can go, when you can go a half 42-1, that's some serious gas. Will he take pressure from his outside? Can he translate that sharp form down the Gulfstream up here in the Jim McKay Turf Sprint? We'll see. Gerald Bennett, nice trainer. He's won over 3,600 races. His first time here at Pimlico. We caught up with him when he got here last week with this horse and a filly he has in today as well in the Miss Preakness. So you have to respect that horse. I use him in the exact nice running of the Jim McKay Turf Sprint. Good luck to the 11-year-old Ben's Cat. Let's turn the page here. Feature of the day. We want to make sure we have plenty of time for this race. The Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan for some of the top 3-year-old fillies in the country, going 1 mile and an eighth on the main track. We have a video spotlight of my top pick in here, the one Shimmering Aspen. Here's her last win at Laurel Park against older filly mares in a 2 other than allowance race. These races at Laurel Park, 2 other than against older filly mares, come up very, very tough. And as a young 3-year-old filly, she just absolutely crushed this field. She could have won by a pole if she wanted to. She's had a nice work over the Pimlico track last week. She went 3/4, 1:15, galloped out to 7/8 and 27, about 1:39, 1:40 for the mile, under wraps. So she's had to work here at the track. Big, good-looking 3-year-old filly by Malibu Moon. She's got a stride from here to the Under Armour 10 out there in the infield. I think she goes right to the front with Steve Hamilton. If she gets away with slow early fractions, see you later.
If she dictates on the front end, she certainly could. Stretching out in distance in here. Her dam did win a stake, going 9 furlongs on the dirt. So stretching out should be no problem in the way that she's been running. You mentioned her stride. I did land on a horse, though. Summer Luck, unfortunately, hasn't had the best luck. Hopefully that's changing as we get into summer for her. But last time out, slow fractions in the Grade 1 Ashland, and she was actually off a bit slow in that race too. She didn't get out of the gate that quickly, and she was kind of rank at the back too. She didn't look unsettled in that race too, and she was trying to save ground along the rail, but the closers were coming on the outside at Keeneland there. In the Devona Dale, she had a nightmare trip as well prior to that, getting checked and having some trouble, also running against a very, very tough Miss Sky Warrior. So I really think that if you get any sort of price on her too, she is a horse that you have to use.
Yeah, absolutely. For a top barn here, Mark Cassidy, you get Javier Castellano aboard at 5-1. She's been running against some of the best fillies in the country, Grade 2s, Grade 1s. Finds a tough race here, but I think on her A game, she could be right there. I respect her. I use her in the exact. I like the 5 in here as well. Todd Pletcher has the morning line favorite, the 7 Moana off that maiden special weight win down there at Keeneland. She's a talented filly by Uncle Mo. We saw her work here at Pimlico earlier this week. It was a very impressive work. But I like the other Pletcher filly, Lights of Medina, a stakes winner. That was at Laurel Park in the Weber City Miss. Fergal Lynch stays aboard today. How about Lights of Medina at a big 8-1 price?
Yeah, I think that's a horse that you have to take a second look at. If you do remember, I spread in this race using this filly as well. Wasn't quite sure what to do with her. As I mentioned earlier, they've always been very high on Moana, and she will have to prove herself today.
All right, so it's a great running of the Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan, Shimmering Aspen. My pick at 9-2. Acacia's going with the 9. Summer Luck at 5-1. We're both trying to beat the favorite in there, number 7 Moana, with the Hall of Famer Johnny V aboard for the future Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher. So a great race there in the Grade 2 Black Eyed Susan. Just a matter of a couple years to see this race get elevated to a Grade 1, I bet you.
Yeah, we've seen some really phenomenal performances in here, and I think that this is actually a pretty wide open race that you might be able to get some good prices on, and could be some nice fillies that go on to do some big things.
All right, we still have 3 more races to go. Still one more stake race here for you today on an absolute killer card on Black Eyed Susan Day. Hats off to Coley Blind, George Ann Hale, everybody in the racing office for making a great card today here on Black Eyed Susan Day. Race 12, we're going 5 furlongs on the turf, first level allowance contest for filly and mares 3 and up. I go to the outside here. I think the 13 Harlan's Thunder coming off the layoff for trainer Eddie Graham. This barn can do this. Trust me, they can get horses ready to come off a layoff and do very well. That's why they attracted the leading rider, Trevor McCarthy, aboard. She showed talent last year as a 2-year-old. This will be her 3-year-old debut. She's been working well up at Fair Hill. I think she gets a trouble-free trip out there in the clear, breaking from the 13 hole. You like her as well. I like it.
I did. I really respected her, and I really liked her when the fact that her 5 furlong turf sprints against Stakes Company, she ran well. She was second behind Happy Mesa in the Salima, and I think that she has shown some class as far as that. Now, I did land on the number 8 in here, Arble, who used a little bit further down, but this one, she seems to be the speed to me. She came off a freshening from February to April. She did finish 4th, a slight bump at the start last time, but then she did end up getting the lead, but she couldn't hold on to it. That was her first start against winners. She does get Lasix today.
The Lasix should move her up. Strong connections here. I use the 8 in my top 5. We both like the 5 as well. Lady Allegra coming off the layoff here for trainer Arnaud Delacour. Was a good second against Allowance Company last October. They've given her the winner off. This is her 4-year-old debut. Been working well at Fair Hill. The barn 32% with a solid positive ROI with horses coming off the layoff.
Yeah, Arnold does an excellent job off of that layoff. And that second was behind my sister Caro, who is about as tough a fighter at this distance on the turf as you'll find anywhere.
All right, so a nice allowance race there in race 12. Let's turn the page. One more stake race here. Race 13 is the Ski Pat to kick off the late double, going 6 furlongs on the main track. Filly and mares 3 and up, and I like a long shot in here. The 1, Lovable Lady, a generous 10-1 here for trainer Mary Epler. Gets Horacio Caramanos, who was the second leading rider at the Laurel Meet. We have a video spotlight. Here's Lovable Lady's last win against Stakes Company at Laurel Park last December in the Willer on the Move. She won this race by about 4.5. Got an 85 buyer speed figure. She had come back, finished 3rd in a What a Summer last January. Then they gave her some time off. She came back in the slop at Laurel Park late April, a good second in the Primonetta to absolutely scratched out of the Ski Pad here today. I think there's a ton of early speed here in this race. Caramanos, if you're listening, just take back, come wide, and come with a run with the 1, Lovable Lady.
We certainly could see that. I did like the number 2, Summer Reading. I respect Lovable Lady for sure off of that performance, but Summer Reading, there's been some questions about this filly for sure. Does she like the turf? Does she like the dirt? And we have a stat on trainer Jimmy Jerkins going from turf to dirt in the sprints. He is 9 for 24, 38% win, ROI of more than $5. There was one 30% win, or 30-1 winner in there, but he's 63% in the money. He does an excellent job. And this filly has some natural speed, but she doesn't need the lead. And I agree with you. There is a lot of speed in here. She tried Graded Stakes Company against the likes of Decinta and Dearest, 2 starts back in the Grade 2 Inside Information. So I'm looking for a little bit of a price in here as well.
I like the price for Strong Connections. I like that turf to dirt stat. I respect the 2, Summer Reading. I use her in my exacta. Trainer Steve Asmussen has a horse in this race as well. We have a soundbite for you, I believe. Am I losing my mind here?
Yeah, then the 5.
Number 5. There we go. That's number 5. I have the horse picked in my top 3. You have the horse in the exacta. Chantilly here for trainer Steve Asmussen has a lot of early speed. This filly, I think, one of many who's going to be up front early on. Here's what trainer Scott Blassie had to say about his fast filly, Chantilly.
Yeah, she's fast. You just kind of got to let her do her own thing, get along with her, and just thought this was a good spot. It's good spot back. Timing from the Oakland races seemed to be good with these Baltimore races. So,
is she the filly you think that kind of needs to have the lead early on?
I think if she gets away well, you just kind of don't hang in her head and just kind of, like I said, get along with her and just she's got a high cruising speed and hopefully we can get the job done.
All right, yeah, so she has some serious speed. We're talking 21 and 3, 44 and change for the half, so she'll be up front early on. Just a question how much other speed's up there with her.
And then there could be speed for sure from the outside in the 9. Clip the coupon. Annie, second off the layup for Todd Pletcher. Finished behind Highway Star, who went on to win the Grade 2 Ruffian after that. She definitely has some speed as well, and got that winning streak broken last time. She's been in good form.
All right, so a nice competitive ski pat there in race 13 to kick off the late daily double. We have to finish here in about a minute. Let's talk about race 14. One more to go here for you. A maiden special weight going a mile and a 16th on the turf, filly and mares. I think this horse can't lose. The 11, Forza, for trainer Michael Matz. You get Javier Castellano aboard. A good third in the debut last January at Gulfstream. 2/3 down there at Gulfstream, and then a very good second in a tough maiden special weight at Keeneland. This horse has enough early speed to sit about mid-pack, maybe a stalking trip. I think the 11 Forza are going to be absolutely very, you like the, all right, I like it. A cold superfecta here.
I
We're
like
done.
it.
11, 14, 12, 2.
I like it. And it looked to me like some of the stronger horses in this race were posted to the outside. Now, Fuerza, I've been chasing her for a couple starts. I loved her in her second career start at Gulfstream, where she did finish a good third. I think that she spotted well today and now has that experience. The 14 West Coast Bias, though, stretching out in distance. She looked very green and pretty keen early on last time out. She was waiting for room, but she moved up the rail, and I thought it was a strong performance from her, and she certainly could move forward with some extra distance.
All right, both Acacia and I in agreement. 11, 14, 12, 2 there in race 14. That wraps it up. 14 races for you today. 7 stake races, a bunch of graded stakes, some of the best horses in the world right here today at Pimlico on Black-Eyed Susan Day to kick off Preakness 142 weekend. Looking forward to working with you all afternoon. Gabby Gaudette, she'll be with us as well. Ron Nicoletti. We're out of time. Let's wrap it up. Dave Robbins coming up next here with all today's scratches and changes. Good luck.